So Menil, she's the healer of her village, right? Every village has a healer that is trained by the Titan. The Titan trained them to be the local doctor, if you wish. But she's very introvert, and she has a magic power. The way she can communicate with nature is extremely helpful for her, because she knows by discussing with the mushroom which one she should pick for a specific preparation. Like, you have a headache, do not take this kind of mushroom. They will tell you, no, I will blow your mind. You need this one, right?
Fitz Of Writing.
Hey there, Scribbles and Scratches. Welcome to the Fitz of Writing. I am your host, R.M. Johnson, and let's find a new book today. As always, if you guys like our show, you like our guests, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Go onto their platforms, do the same for them. Let's try to support the artists that we bring on. This week, our most humble benefactor, Sir Dr. Duncan Cackleworth, has brought us another title. Unfortunately, I can't pronounce it, so I sought out the author to help educate me a little bit. He's a young writer in terms of actual writing, but he's long enough in the tooth to have written something worth reading. So I'll go ahead and welcome David Catuhe on. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me.
So, not to bury the lead too much there, let's get the name of your book out there, and I'm not going to attempt to butcher it. So you go ahead and say it.
So yeah, I am famously known for my very complicated names. So this one is Menilmonea, right? That's the name of the main character, and it's not easier for the second book, because the second book is Valianara, which is not easier, and the third will be Azimantias. So I'm trying to pick the most easy to market, because everyone will remember them, because I have no competition, right? It's not like someone will pick these names.
So what's the inspiration behind the names of those characters, like those long names? You just like
it's famous-ish in Paris. Like in Paris, there is a place named Menilmonea. It's a well-known place. If you go to Paris, it's very cozy, and I like that, and that's the topic of my books. It's a cozy fantasy, so yeah, I pick based on places that I like, and I just skew them a little bit so they don't really look exactly the same, but close.
And so I'm just gonna call it Meni short. Meni is that's the one we're going to talk about today the most, and
yes.
Val is coming out next, right?
Yes, it's already out. It's out since April. But yeah, the entry point is Menilmonea.
All right, so that's our kicking off point. What started the inspiration behind the story? It's a fantasy story, correct?
It's a fantasy story, yes. I am 50, and I was a developer, a software engineer, and I was convinced by several people in my entourage when I was younger that writing or painting, that was not something serious, but that's what I really liked a lot, and so I let them decide for me somehow. But the story was in my mind, right? My job as a software engineer, I was what I call a evangelist, so technical evangelist. So you go on stage and you try to convince people to buy or use the product you are trying to sell. So I loved telling stories since the beginning, right? My stories were very technical, but my heart was very much into fantasy. So I had that in mind. I mean, it's not super new. I think a lot of your hosts will say that probably, but yeah, a lot of your guests will say that. I mean, it was in my mind since forever. I wanted to tell that story. And recently, 11 years ago, I got a daughter. She's 11 years old now. And that story was definitely for her. Oh. It's about two female strong characters that try to survive in a world which is complicated for them. They have some belief, and the reality is far more different. Like, this coming of age is something for her.
So from what I don't want to unleash any spoilers or anything like that, but from what the little bit I was reading of your submission, It seems like our main character, Many, I'm just
Menil,
gonna stick with Many,
Menil, yeah, Menil.
may or may not have some connection with the Earth.
Yes, exactly. It's very nature driven. So the beginning of the story is this character right there, the
Big
gigantic turtle, right? Name is Tunka. He is a titan, and in this world we have villages, right, where people live in harmony with their titan. So the titan is kind of the central figure that is driving education and making sure the village has everything. And they are not allowed to go to other villages. And one day, Tunka got into a slumber, and they cannot awaken. And so this is the beginning for Menil and her friend Aureal to break the rules, figure out what the world is about, why the Titans are not there anymore. And so their first move is, okay, we are not allowed, but we will go to the next village to ask their Titan for help. And that's the beginning of a very long story.
Oh, it's there's something sweet about that. I can't really like pinpoint it, but there's a youthful innocence about like, well, I know it's against the rules, but like this guy's like in trouble, and
Yes.
we have to help him.
Yeah, someone has to do something, right? And
Yeah.
it's all about like breaking the rules, coming of age, deciding for yourself, challenging the establishment, and figuring out that the world is far more complicated and dark than what it is. So it's cozy, but not cozy bright. It's cozy going to the dark world.
Yeah, I do love stories like that. It kind of harkens back to like my childhood love of like The Secret of Nim, where it's like
yeah.
a warm coziness, and it gets progressively darker the farther from home you get.
Exactly. You nailed it, right? My main inspiration is Ghibli, like Princess Mononoke is an example where the world is beautiful, but there is a darkness that you discover, and that's exactly what I wanted to capture.
That's really good. I want to take a moment and just kind of let everyone know that you like your artwork should be kind of like touted a little bit, because it's yours. You're the one creating all the artwork, not just on the cover, but inside the pages as well.
Yes. Yeah, I learned. I was 44 when I decided, okay, actually I should not have listened to people. I should have become an artist, right? That's in me. You know that the midlife crisis?
Yeah.
Well, mine was also fighting against the establishment and saying, no, I can be an artist. So I learned. I went to a school specifically for that and spent time on it. And the goal that was driving me at that time was, okay, I'm going to paint my book. So instead of writing long description, I'm going to paint them. One example is, when I have my titans, that's a sleeping titan. Instead of spending hours saying like, hey, there is a sleeping titan, he looks like a lizard, and his vegetation is slowly taking control of the village around, or let's paint it, right? And so, yes, there are, per book, I do 22 full page illustration. They are handmade, no AI at all, anywhere. And that's my biggest pleasure, I think, like going right there on this computer where I can paint. It's where my tablet is, and painting the next scenes for my book is fantastic.
So do you just do it exclusively for your own work, or are you out there offering your services to other authors?
Very rarely, but if the project suits me, I can do for other authors.
Yeah, I have to say I'm impressed. I mean, your artwork is very outstanding for just starting in your late 40s or mid 40s and feel like I'm going to become an artist.
Life experience, right? And the motivation of like saying no, like again, breaking the rules.
Yeah.
It took me 6 years to reach a level where I'm comfortable to sell a book and say, hey, like the cover or the internal illustration, I did that.
Yeah, you're such a compelling person. It's really wanted me to like immediately start jumping into the second half of this interview, but we gotta promote your book. We gotta talk more about it. But let's talk about some characters. Who do you think? I'm always curious, since this one's been out and your second one has been released earlier this year, right?
Yeah, in April. Yes.
In April. I'm always curious to hear from authors as in regards to the feedback they get from their audience. Like, is there a character that pops up that your audience really likes or dislikes that you never like expected them to like or dislike as much as they do?
I try to create a likable characters, right? The main two characters, I tried them to be very likable. And one of the feedback I got for the book 2, they are in the book 2, but the book 2 is also about a new character, and people loved the bad guy in book 2. Such that I change a little bit my plan. So I'm an outliner, right? I create outline for all my chapters for all the books, so I know where I go, and then I can paint scenes, right? So I'm not getting driven by the story. I drive the story, right? But because the character that is in book 2 was very appreciated by my readers, I decided to change a little bit the story to give that character far more room in the book 3.
That's nice. I like that. I like authors that aren't afraid to do a little bit of fan service.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
I hate when people are like, "Oh, the fans are getting too close to the truth. I have to like pivot now." And it's like, no, you don't. Just let them enjoy that.
Yeah,
or
enjoy, right? Like,
yeah,
you like that character, that voice, perfect.
Or pivot because like you've created someone that you didn't expect was going to get as much love and as that they did, and you're like, well, maybe they earned a better place.
Right? Like,
yeah, that's great.
And in book 1, I have so Menil can talk to the nature, and more specifically, she's a mycomancer, so she can talk to mushrooms.
Yeah. You start off with that pretty early. It's more of like a hint. You don't necessarily give it credence right away, but at least in the first page there that I was reading, like she's like having like a very friendly conversation with mushrooms that aren't having a conversation back, and so it comes across as like a very sweet, childlike kind of
exactly. But mushrooms are like humans, and there are some grumpy ones, and so several of my readers ping me and say, I love your grumpy mushrooms, they are the best.
She can make a shirt. That's merchandise.
Yes, right.
Grumpy
and one
mushrooms.
of them are the detonites. The detonites are mushrooms that Menil can use and make them boom, and they love going boom, and so they're extremely grumpy, and like people say, I love when they go boom. So yeah, that's the kind of character in my book that I was not I did not plan them to be that appreciated, so I kept them for book 2 as well.
That's a very unique. I love that. It kind of reminds me. I'm a big tabletop nerd, and like that little conversation you were having in the beginning reminded me of like when people speak with plants in tabletop games, and like they can have all these different personalities and stuff depending on your DM, and so that kind of reminded me of that. That was fun. What other you seem to have like a lush world built here, without giving too much detail or as much as you want. What kind of races, I guess, species are we looking to possibly encounter?
So we have the humans-ish, I'll say, without saying too much. We have the mother. Actually, that's something you know very soon in the book, that they all think or believe in a unique divinity named the Mother, right? She is the creator of nature and the village and the Titans. So we have her. We have the Titans, a lot of different Titans. Every book introduced new Titans. I'm painting right now a Beetle Titan, for instance, and we have like a lot of Titans with several capacities, I'd say. And we have a specific race. It's complicated, not of entities, very powerful, that represent the nature, I would say. And we have the opposite side, like the technological / magic world, where humans try to use the power of nature to their own benefits. But they are not really humans. I mean, So I don't have elves or gnome. I try to have my own bestiary. The Titans are very specific, and they are the child of a specific race, which is very nature-centric, like a creature that is the bond between the mother and the world.
And don't forget the mushrooms.
Mushrooms are
Yeah.
child of this creature.
So, I guess I'm curious as to what kind of I'm trying to word it correctly. What kind of trouble can we expect our main character to get into? And if you could, like, give the audience like a little bit of an insight into who your main character is, like what drives her and what motivates her.
So Menil, she's the healer of her village, right? Every village has a healer that is trained by the Titan. The Titan trained them to be the local doctor, if you wish. But she's very introvert, and she has a magic power. The way she can communicate with nature is extremely helpful for her, because she knows by discussing with the mushroom which one she should pick for a specific preparation. Like, you have a headache, do not take this kind of mushroom. They will tell you, no, I will blow your mind. You need this one, right? And so, but they don't kill them, right? Mushroom has a very short life, and when they decide that they will blow into spores, they can decide to go with Menil, and she can create preparation. So that's a win-win situation. And the previous healer died because she picked the wrong mushroom, and then she got her face blown away, and she died. So she's using her power to protect her and use the power of the nature to help the village. But that also makes her a someone different, right? And people do not like different people. Oh, and there is something very I need to mention that, because some people start reading the book, half the book, they ping me and say, what the is that? Literally. And I told them, just keep reading. It's not what it looks like. So in the book, Menil say, and she's 13 cycles, and her best friend, Aureal, she's 10 cycle old. And initially I wanted to play with that, because it's not like what it looks like. They are not really 10-year and 13-year-olds, right? They are 20 and 26. And so, just so you know, because her best friend, she's very into boys, and she wants to please the mother, because mother wants the villages to grow, so you need to have kids and stuff like that. And so people were like, the f*** are you talking about? You have a 10-year-old saying she's into boy and she wants to, no, calm down, right? That's not what it looks like it is, okay? So yeah, I wanted to say it loud for people, so I should have a warning at the beginning. They are not young.
Well, I mean, I think that's just people kind of getting too stuck on your age measurement of cycles.
Yes.
Where, like, I think this is where it helps with your art. Like, when you look at the art, they don't look like they're 10.
No, they don't. Exactly.
Yeah, they look like, they look older.
Young adult, like 20, 26, it's where they are. And so, yes, she is some kind of a person at the margin of the village, right? But she's very helpful for the village, and she struggled with her power. And something happened with the Titan, and then her power will, of course, become useful, and she will, with her best friend Aureal, break the rules, leave the village, face the world.
And so, man, your book is... I want to read it. I want to read all of it. It's so interesting. Man, I love the idea.
I'm doing my job very well. Perfect.
I love the idea of the mushrooms and them having personalities. And like I said, like the soft introduction of your main character in your first page, it really kind of pulls you in. You're just like, oh, this is an interesting person. Like, they're having an interesting time talking. Yeah, very different. Very different. Doesn't feel like she takes herself too seriously. She seems a little bit mischievous. Just a little bit. Yeah, so it's like, I could easily watch an adventure with her. I am curious as to, like, what scene, we'll stick with book one. What scene did you find particularly difficult to write?
The final one.
Ooh. You want to delve into that a little bit more?
Yeah. So, my view of it's a story in 4 books, right? I am 35% in the 3rd book right now. There will be a 4th. And I wanted to have a funnel, like a tiny world at the beginning. It's like 2 or 3 villages, and we know a few titans, and then they go outside, and we go with her, and we discover that, oh my gosh, the world is far bigger. There is a continent, and above that continent there are more continents, and we did to do that. I did one mistake that I still regret to this day, but the book was written. So at the end of book 1, I had something to happen, of course.
Yeah.
I can't comment, but it was my way to introduce the bigger universe, right? Like they realize something very important that the reader and themselves believe for all the books, and I have a twist that I think I subtly introduced during the book, right? There are some hints, their ages is one of them, etc. Anyway, and at the end, revelation. That revelation, I struggle to write it because it required me to do some kind of info dumping. I don't like that. I try to have all my painting to convey most of the message, but unfortunately, to transition to book 2, I had to do a bit of info dumping. I was debating with myself, should I just split that in 2, but it will be less satisfying for the reader. I love that the reader at the end of every book, you have a story. I close all the arcs, just one big one stay, right? And that's where I struggle. And I still don't like the end of my book 1. If I could go back in time and change it, I would. I will change that. I don't know how. Even to this day, I don't know how I should have written that differently. But yeah, a trigger warning. There is, for 3 or 4 pages, a kind of a massive info dump at the end that I regret writing, but that was necessary.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all have those chapters we regret and we wish we could redo. I know I have a lot. That's probably what stops me from completing my work the most. But at least yours is done, and you can.
Oh yeah, I'm driven by that. Like I want it to be done and say, okay, yeah, I accept the imperfection. I am not Sanderson. I will not sell 10 million books. That's fine. But my story is out there.
Are you a fan of Sanderson or a Sander
I like
fan,
the guy. I was following his courses. I am less into what he writes, but not because he's not a good person. It's not just to my taste.
Yeah, I'm a massive fan of his courses. I'm always glad to hear when I encounter another author that watches them.
Oh yeah, I watch all of them. This guy doing all of that for free with that quality and everything, and giving us every secret, all the trade. Like what?
Yeah, I'm convinced just watching the course, I can't imagine being in them. But like, if you just watch the courses, you advance your own writing knowledge at least 5 years.
Oh, yeah, of course. And he's making updates. Like that's crazy for free. So yeah, I will forever love that guy. He's my sensei somehow.
Yeah, he's all our sensei.
He does not know me, but yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully one day we'll have him on here, and I'll get to tell him how much I appreciate his lectures. I'm like you. I'm not a particular fan of his writing, but not because it's not good or anything. It's just not my speed.
Yeah, it's not my.
Yeah, it's not my taste. But his lectures are invaluable.
Masterclasses. Yes.
Yeah, and I encourage everyone to go check them out. I feel like that's Oh, I had one other question. So are these traditionally published? You self-publish? Find a hybrid? Yeah. What strategy?
I'm not a passion person, so I did not try to query or find a publisher. And in the world where we are living right now, as a software engineer, I have all the tools I need to do everything myself. So I went down the KDP road. So I am on Kindle, paperback, hardcover, and Audacity. No, sorry, the audiobooks.
Audiobooks.
Yeah.
And you found that's working for you pretty well.
Well, before these books, right? I wrote 3 illustrated books, mostly illustrations of my work, and they sold enough to fund the first one. Oh. And then the first one sold enough to fund the second one, and etc.
So, well, that's impressive. Well, I'm glad that's working out. I hope you can gain continued success, because I really
Oh
do.
that's all I ask.
Yeah, I think your world building is top notch. I mean, just particularly for someone that's only been writing for 5 years, right?
Since 45, yeah, 5 years, right?
Yeah, 5 years. Your illustrations, that's what, 3 years?
No, 6 for illustrations.
Oh, 6. So I
Yeah.
mean, you're still under 10 years of doing
Oh
all
yeah, I
this
am under
stuff,
10.
and your writing and your artwork is very top notch.
I write in French, by the way, so for people listening to me, and I make a lot
You're
of
French?
English mistakes. I write in French, right? And then I pay a translator, a professional translator, to convert that into a very good English. My translator, she's fantastic. So yeah, don't worry if you hear me having a lot of syntax or mistake or grammar errors in English. They won't be in the book because someone took care of that.
Yes, and I, for the record, read the English, so I can't attest to the quality of the French. I couldn't if I could read French. I don't. I'm not very good at that.
They are very close.
That's good. So yeah, I feel like this is probably a good time to kind of open it up. I feel like we promoted your book pretty heavily there. What is what inspired you? Like, not inspired you to write, but like what's your inspirations? Like, who do you kind of like lean towards as an author?
I would say Miyazaki from Studio Ghibli. So for the inspiration, not for the writings. That's funny because I read science fiction and I write fantasy. I barely read fantasy. I never found one. So just to give you what I would define what I write as science fantasy, right? So it's actually not magic like in Sanderson world. It's more science fantasy.
Like
that
ancient technologies and stuff like that.
Exactly right. You just nailed it. And I love that. So I am still a big reader of Pierce Brown, of Asimov, the big names of science fiction for sure. I love Peter F. Hamilton. So I read science fiction. And for the fantasy aspect, it's mostly Studio Ghibli. I love what Miyazaki can do with all these movies. It's just dreamy, exactly what I love. And
yeah,
dark.
I would say I am a defender of anime as a true art form and should be heavily considered by anyone that writes should watch anime. Not just for like the visuals and stuff, clearly, but I also contend that there's a lot of anime, not all of it, because there's a lot of anime, but there is a lot of anime that has very strong narrative voice.
Oh yes, and the voice of the characters, like the voice, like not the voice, the sound, but how they talk, the way it's put together, and honestly, the scenario and the stories, they are extremely creative, right? I am a big fan of Tolkien. I read Tolkien, of course. I went down this path, no problem. I am blessed by the god of fantasy, no problem. But everything looks like Tolkien at some point, right? And so I wanted some fresh air, and anime bring that, right? It's very different.
It's very different. And they have such fresh ideas. Like, for inspiration.
I'm thinking about Attack on Titan right now. It's so crazy good if you don't know that one. It's just a new story, something that I never read or saw before.
Yeah, I mean, that's a popular one. If I reach into my bag of anime, Fire Force. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
No,
it's essentially
I'm taking a mental note right now.
It's essentially a fire department that fights the spiritual energy that fire can create effectively. Okay. And so it's just like, who thinks of that? Who thinks of demons and spirits being popped up because of fire? And it's such a ridiculous notion.
Yeah, but it's refreshing, right? It's new.
Yeah, it's so different, and I feel like you should experience it just to get your head into a different space.
Exactly.
Like you said,
when I started writing Menilmonea, I was trying to convince myself to read, all the canon, all the stuff but I was like, no, I want something fresh and new, so I will not go down this path.
Yeah, and I think yours is very fresh. I love the whole nature aspect. I love the idea that these giant titans are like ancient teachers, and it's something vibrant about just a world of like lush green and
Exactly.
nature. And
it's
stuff.
all green. Yeah, green is my color.
Yeah, it feels very like almost consuming, but reviving at the same time. It's very interesting. Oh, what kind of, like, when you write, because you said you don't really like, technically to call it fantasy, you don't really like science fiction, like somewhere in the middle there.
Yeah, in the middle, exactly.
So if we were to create a new classification, which is science fantasy, or, well, I don't want to call it fan fiction. That sounds stupid.
Yeah, fan fiction. No, I like science fantasy.
Yeah, science fantasy. When you write science fantasy, what elements do you feel like are necessary to make a good, quote unquote, science fantasy story?
That's a very good question. Let me try to put words on that. I think the fantasy aspect is clear, right? It's the adventure, the magic, the science brings the grounding somehow. I also like Sanderson because he has very complex and very well maintained magic system, right? That's something that talked to me as an engineer, probably. And so in science fantasy, you try to ground the stuff. Like, it's not entirely impossible with dragons flying and everything. It's more, I have gigantic titans and animals, so I'm not sure I am very well set to say that, right? But I try to ground the stuff and have this mix of past ancient technologies versus new unleashed magic nature powers. It's a mix of both. So you can have teleporters, like portals, like not magic portals, literally Star Trek portals, living in a world where you can talk to mushrooms.
Well, I feel like you have a lot of freedom because,
you can do the heck exactly you want, right? Like,
well, you take that old adage of like, science to an uneducated mind can appear to be magic.
As magic. And that's exactly what drives me here.
Yeah, and so like you create a society that doesn't like fully understand its surroundings, ancient science is going to seem magical, and they're not going to know why a dragon flies. There could be some internal organs that help it do that, and you don't know.
Absolutely. Or it could be a robot, very well. What was that game on PS5? Like, I love with these robots, dinosaurs.
I think it's something Horizon.
Yeah, exactly. Horizon Zero Dawn and Horizon. I love that. That's science fantasy for me, right? You have magic in one hand, and then you have these robots coming from this ancient world. That's.
Yeah, I agree. I like that blending. It's very, very different. It feels very fresh. I don't think we have enough stories like that.
I'm happy to contribute.
What do you we'll keep in that same vein. What do you think, like, when you're writing a character, what do you think is essential for I don't want to say good, it's so vague. What do you feel like is essential to make a strong character?
I'd say it needs to have a motive and it needs to change, right? I like when and they also have their own voice. I try to challenge myself, like, if I don't say who is saying what, I love to convince myself that my characters are different enough so you can read and imply from what they say who they are. And so, yeah, I like strong character. And for me, strong character is that, like, their own voice, their own motive, and they can change on their way through the book, right? So they start in one place, something happens, they adapt, they change, and they become something else. They are not flat, right? Or they are not here just to the purpose of the plot. Like, hey, I'm here to expose something and then I'm done. Like, I don't have a lot of character in my books because of that main reason. I try to not have exposition PNG, right? Like a character that is just here for explaining something, or just to die so the main character can do something. I don't like that. I want them to have some suspense.
Yeah, like yeah. They're more grounded in the not in the story but in the world.
In the world, yeah. For me, world building is massively linked to that. You can just take a picture of a place and feel like there is something that you could go and figure out.
Yeah, and I agree with you about like your character's voice. I actually like to write dialogue completely void of any descriptions, like tags or anything like that. So I'll completely remove any said bookisms, any saids or that, and I'll just
exactly
go dialogue,
like the tag, the dialogue tag, and if it still stands and you can still read it, and then I think you reach a good level of internal character voice.
Yeah, I like to go as far as I can and to see how long I feel like the reader can follow with who's talking without me telling them.
Agreed.
And then I'll like start peppering it when I go to edit. I'll start.
Yeah, when the alpha reader say, "Who is talking again?" Like, oh, okay, yeah. I went too far. Let's go back.
yeah. That's when you kind of feel like you need to do that. Man, there's a lot to chew on with the world you built. I'm very curious. I'm very curious about like what you feel like kind of inspired your. I mean, I guess I could say your art style. I haven't seen much of any other thing, so I don't know like how diverse it is, or if you just are like locked into your particular art style with this series. But I am curious as to like what inspired that style of art for this series.
If I say Ghibli again,
you can
probably the case. The one I was the most memorable for me was Princess Mononoke, with this gigantic nature deer representing the forest. I was almost in tears with that movie. It's like such powerful, and I was like, okay, the day I can write something that powerful and paint something as beautiful as that, I can consider myself I complete my life, right? So I am on that way, right? Clearly not there, but the inspiration is there. I really like the power of pictures associated with a story, right? And it seems to work well with my readership. The main good feedback I get, I assure you I also have bad feedback, right? But I try to ignore that. But the good feedback is mostly about, oh yeah, I was going on some pages and I hoped you add an illustration soon because I wanted to see, like there is the ancient valley. The ancient valley in the book is a place where a big battle happened in the past. Something died, and on the dust of that something, the mushroom grew. And in that specific valley, the mushroom are like tall as a sequoia, very large one. So it's a forest of mushrooms. And several readers say, I'm happy you painted that one because I really wanted to see what a forest of mushroom could be, right? I'm going to try to pick it so I can show you directly. And so the inspiration is literally to give life to my story. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be very visual.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
There is a path right there, and Menil and Aureal are going down the mushroom forest where they are discussing with the grumpy ones.
That's beautiful. And actually, I am 100% behind what you're saying there in regards to like the picture being very powerful in regards to storytelling and like narrative and stuff like that. We have a challenge that we do monthly called the Telletales, where what we do is, instead of doing a writing prompt and be like, here's this sentence, create a story off of it, I find an image, some artwork online,
yes.
and I just, at the bottom, I just say, tell me the story you see. You know, I'm not gonna, and then like, I'll create one, or Sean will create a story to kind of give people like, hey, this is what we saw when we looked at it. What did you see? Yes. You know, because I think there's, you know, the adage is a picture is worth 1,000 words. I think it's worth infinitely more than that.
That's definitely my copyright, because every time I need to write a long, boring description, sorry about that, I'd say a Tolkien description, but please don't crucify me, right? I paint, right? When I feel like, okay, we are going to a place, I'm gonna need to explain everything. No, I'm gonna just paint it. I love painting places. That's probably where I feel the most joy. I like characters, but places, it's definitely where I love, like dropping tiny details and everything. And so that's where you're right. A picture is worth 1,000 words.
Yeah, I can see what people might think that that's cheating, but honestly, that's just the voice of people who can't draw. Because as a writer who can, I do have an artistic sense. As a writer who also has that, I myself constantly wish I could just draw this thing that I'm trying to describe instead of
Yeah,
like
it's
trying to
frustrating,
describe
right?
it.
And you feel like when you are in the pace of the action and the character are discussing and you are building the momentum, and then you need to pause because else people don't know where you are. Sometimes it could be a refreshing pause, but I really feel sometimes in the books I'm reading, oh, dude, like I'm gonna go through 3 pages of okay, understanding where we are, and then give me back the actions, right? So I try to avoid these slow down moments.
Well, I mean, and also like the problem with description is it can get away from you as a writer. So it actually can be helpful to just be able to draw it and, have that created image for you, because you can very easily cloud your own description to the reader because it's just kind of gotten away from you.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
Totally.
I'm very tempted to reach out to you just to have a working relationship so you can draw some of the stuff. Because I have a very I have a fantasy book I'm working on that has some very immersive landscape descriptions, because my character like is going from the natural world into an unnatural place that's like kind of like a bridge to go to a further, more unnatural place that's like a prison.
I like that. I like the sound of that.
Yeah, yeah. And it is a task to describe all that.
I agree, right? And
yeah.
I feel your pain. I feel exactly the same.
Well, I'm severely impressed. I've said it more than once. I'm severely impressed with your level of writing and your artistic ability with the short time that you've put towards endeavoring to learn those things.
We are faster when we are 45 than when we are 25. That's also part of it.
Yeah, there's a giant difference in your age gap of like when you start trying to really take something serious. And I'm excited to see what you produce at 55. What you got
55 in 5 years. I should be done with this series. Maybe a new one.
Yeah, I'd be interested in reading it. That's 100%. I'm gonna go ahead and why don't you let everyone know where we can find your book, where they can find you if they're trying to get in touch with you in regards to just being a fan or asking for your services if possible.
So everything is on Amazon right now in France or US or Canada or Australia, or every English-speaking country can find it on Amazon. If you want to buy it directly for me, I make more money, but it's also, the drill, right? It's also a little bit more painful because we don't have the Amazon advantages, and so the book will get to you slower. But I have my own print-on-demand system. So my website is my name. Like if you look at the card, I don't know if you record the entirety of the Google Meet. So my name is written there. Here, you www.davidcatuhe.com.
Well, we'll also add it in the description. But yeah, we have an overlay. We'll put your name on there and everything. Do you have any events coming up?
Well, no, actually, it's already done. I finished publishing Valianara because I published the Kindle, the paperback, the hardcover, and the audiobook. The audiobook was shipped last week. So the next one will be probably end of year, around November, for the 3rd installment.
Well, I think your episode will be coming out sometime next month, so that should give people plenty of time to keep an eye out for November and
Yep, and get the third one.
yeah, get the third one. Go to the stores now. Get the first two.
Yeah, please. You can also order from library. I work with Ingram Spark, so libraries, if you prefer not to go to Amazon Road, you can ask your library to order it. I am in the file required for that.
And is there anything that they need to look out for specifically if they want the French or the English version, or is it just...
Or if you are in the US or any English-speaking country, you won't find the French. You need to go to Amazon.fr very much. So that's the only place where you can get the French version.
So keep note of that. Any French readers out there, go to Amazon France.
I won't lie to you. I think 95% of my revenue comes from English.
Well, I don't know.
The size of the addressable market is absolutely not the same, to be honest, right? So,
well, I mean, there's some people out there that just like to have, like, if they're able to read in that language, they would prefer to have that language. Because I guess it's like a matter of translation to them. It feels more pure when it's in the original language.
You're right. The pure version is the French one because it's written in French. And then you have the adapted version. Hopefully close enough.
It's close enough. There's no mistakes in translation.
I read them and they're fine according to the author. But my English level is probably not the one of someone born in the US. So.
Well, I read it and I didn't have a problem. So
okay, perfect.
And I don't speak any other languages. I do want to remind everyone that Sean and I, the Fitz of Writing, does have a Reddit community we're trying to build called the Inkwell Society. If you guys want to be a part of that, you'll have more direct access to me and Sean. We're trying to build a community in there, so feel free to join.
Just join.
Yeah, feel free. And if you guys are a little bit more curious about our own creative endeavors, be sure to check out our playlist on the YouTube channel. We have Wow, That's What We Call Poetry, where I take my poems and poems of any guests we might have that are willing to participate, and we turn them into music for fun, for expression of the versatility of words, and maybe, encouraging some musicians out there to reach out to poets for some lyrics. Who knows? But yeah, check that stuff out. Please go to David's stuff, support him, support us, like, comment, and subscribe. All right, you guys have a good one. Let's go ahead and fade to black.
Thank you. Bye.